everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So I've pretty much finished with the tail feathers. I'm now working on the flowers that are on the far right-hand side now. Yeah, started a little work on some of the leaves yesterday, and yeah, just working my way across this path. We're getting closer to the end of it, so yeah, like I said, I'm thinking I might finish by the end of the year, but we will see. So, okay. Yeah, as you can see, I'm going to start getting into purples and such here, and pinks as we get into these flowers. Packed away a lot of my blues and greens that I was using in the feathers. All right, so yeah, it's a cold one out there. It feels like minus 30 Celsius, so yeah, it is a good day to stay inside and stitch and stay warm. Yeah, even pulled out my electric throw blanket the other day. Yeah, it's not a full blanket, it's just like a lap blanket, and yeah, sometimes I need that little bit of extra extra heat to keep me from getting so cold. It's actually very warm. I only need it on the lowest setting. Oh my goodness. There. The ends there were trying to become part of that stitch, which I don't want. Yeah, so I'm predicting I'm going to get a lot of really weird shapes. Oh, did I do something wrong already? My gosh. Yeah, I think I came up back in the wrong spot. Oh, not the best way to start. Yeah, that's already a full stitch. I didn't need to go over it again. Oh, I tell you. Okay, well, that's still secure. It's not coming out, so I'm good. Yeah, silly me. And I suddenly went, wait a minute, there's only 3 supposed to be in this row that I'm stitching, so I knew I did something wrong. Yeah, like I said, we were really spoiled with mild temperature for a while. Oh, and look at that. This one I parked wrong as well. My gosh. I swear, I do know what I'm doing usually. Oh. Hold this other thread that's down there out of my way so I don't sew it with this one. There. All right, try that again. Well, I didn't sleep so well last night, so I'm going to blame it on that. The brain is a little foggy today. All right. Yeah, a whole bunch of purples and pinks are coming in here. Right quick. Missed one. There we go. Yeah, so I kind of did one diamond of the window there yesterday. Now we're into the flower. Yeah, once again, the leaves on these flowers are kind of bluish gray and rather than green. Yeah, which when I was stitching them further up, kind of thought, I'm not sure this is going to look right, but it does. Yeah, when I took the whole thing off my frame and spread it out, I was happy with how it looked, so. Okay, so yeah, some of it's going to come from the top, but most of it I think is going to come more from the bottom of this curve here upwards is how I'm going to work. Yeah. So yeah, there's sort of a big petal shape right there, and I'm going to kind of follow that for now. So yeah, like I said, I don't really stitch diagonally anymore. I just kind of follow the colors. I find it goes a little quicker. I'm not forced to change colors as often as when I was trying to stick to the diagonals, so. Oops. Let's see how much of this colors are on here. Oh, not very much, yeah. Yeah, this is one that kind of just gives little highlights to the shading. Yeah, so I gotta figure out what I want for Christmas this year. My husband and I, we don't surprise each other anymore. We have a budget and we just buy what we want, because, yeah. I don't like clutter, and so, you know, I was often getting things that are nice, but not really anything I actually wanted or needed, and yeah. Yeah, I actually did a big house decluttering in 2017. Yeah. Well, my son was 10, so it was time to go through, you know, his toys and books and get rid of the board books and the baby Legos and stuff like that. So since we were doing that, I did a whole bunch of purging of stuff for us too that we didn't need anymore. Yeah. Yeah, well, it was because before that, I had never lived in any place longer than a couple of years. When I was a kid, we moved all the time. Even when I was an adult, yeah, I moved a fair amount until we finally settled here. And then I said, I'm not moving again. They're going to have to get me out of here on a gurney. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to actually fill in a bit first of other colors around this. Yeah. Yeah, I went to like 13 different schools, and yeah, so it's funny because I'll have somebody say, so where's your hometown? It's like, well, yeah, I don't really have one. And no, we weren't a military family, because I have a lot of people ask, oh, did you move so much because, you know, was your dad in the military? It's like, no, we just moved a lot. He'd get some new job opportunity or, yeah, some new idea, and off we'd go. And yeah, I got in trouble when I was about 15, and my parents sat us down to announce we were moving, and I said, oh, again? Because, oh, I was so sick of it. At that point, I had gone to the same high school for 3 years, which again was like the longest I'd ever been to the same school. I had friends that I didn't want to leave, yeah. And we moved from Vancouver Island to the mainland, so. And this was in the days before social media, so I tried writing letters, but I don't know, just wrote maybe one or two, and it just kind of didn't happen after that. Yeah. I did reconnect with those friends on Facebook years later, but yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I've actually enjoyed novels that use letters between main characters as a big plot device. Yeah. But when it comes to actually writing them myself, I'm not so good. I've never done Christmas cards. Yeah. Again, I figure all the big highlights and stuff, people are friends with me on Facebook and they see it there, right? So, yeah. I'm not good at remembering. I would have to write it down throughout the year because, yeah, like I can't remember what happened last January. Ooh. Heck, half the time I can't remember what happened last week, right? Ooh. Okay, so yeah. So I looped this one up and around. Okay, so yeah, like I said, looking at the color, it kind of outlining the petal there. Yeah, so I still haven't driven in the snow this winter. I can do it, but I don't like doing it, so yeah. I avoid it if I really, unless I really, really need to. Yeah, I live close enough I could walk to the grocery, but, you know, not really when it's that cold. Yeah, because minus 30, you can get frostbite very quickly if you're not careful. So, I fortunately have never had it. I remember once my son was like 3, and actually, I'm going to take this one out, yeah. And he insisted he wanted to play outside. Oh, I don't know what that's doing there. Okay. Yeah, I have a thread card from a different envelope in here. Actually says 3863 on it, which is not this color, which is 3836. So yeah, I must have grabbed the wrong one. Stuffed it back in this envelope. Anyway, he wanted to play outside and it was like minus 40, which is the same in Celsius and Fahrenheit. And I just said, it's too cold. It's too cold. And he kept insisting. I said, okay, fine, but only for 5 minutes. So got him in his snowsuit and his toque and his mittens and, you know, a scarf around his face and all this stuff. And I opened the door and he feels the cold air and he turns around and he says, come in. I said, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. It was too cold. I'm like, I should have just done that in the first place. You know, I should have just opened the door and let him feel how cold it was. And then he would have been like, oh, yeah, maybe mom's got a point, you know. It is too cold. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I remember when our guinea pig was still alive. And I had to take her to the vet. And again, it was super duper cold. So I filled her carrier with a bunch of her blankets because I used blankets for her bedding. And then I had a couple of them on top of her so that she would stay warm. But of course, she's curious and she kept trying to poke her face out, no matter how much I was trying to keep her covered up, until we got outside and she stuck her face out from the blankets. And then she felt the cold air and yeah, she went right back in. It was like, and then she stopped trying to get out. It's like, yeah, that's why I was covering you up, because it is darn cold. Even when you're covered in fur, it is ruddy cold. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be careful with them. They can catch a chill quite easily. old baby blankets we used for her bedding. And then I would just, you know, wash them with hot water. So, yeah, rather than buying the disposable bedding, yeah. Yeah, she's been gone for over a year now. Yeah, I miss that little piggy. She was a sweetie. Yeah, I'm saying, I don't know, when we become empty nesters, I might get some more guinea pigs. Yeah, she was interesting because guinea pigs are usually they're social and they need a buddy or they get depressed, but ours was a loner. Yeah. We tried to put her with other guinea pigs and she didn't really like them. She was sort of okay if we put like another guinea pig in a cage next to her and they could sort of talk to each other through the bars, but to actually try to put them together, yeah, she would fight. So she's really gentle with us, but yeah, with other guinea pigs, she tried to be dominant. So yeah, my sister-in-law, she used to live in town and she had guinea pigs too, so sometimes we would trade their toys because then they could smell another guinea pig and they were really interested in that. So yeah. Yeah, she really liked the summer. I would sometimes take her out to the backyard so she could eat grass and clovers. Yeah, she loved it. And dandelions, but it was funny because she would only eat the stems. So you would pick some for her and she'd eat it right up to the top, and then the little flower part would just pop right off and then she'd leave it. So yeah, if you gave her a bunch, she ended up with like a pile of dandelion heads underneath her chin. It was funny too because I would take pictures with her and my iPhone camera would try to identify it. So sometimes it would say she was a dog and sometimes it would say she was a cat. Although, yeah, I said I was pretty flattered because I was taking a picture of my stitching and it labeled it as artwork. So it's like, well, that was flattering. Yeah, or it thought it was a painting once. Which it kind of is, painting with threads, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Wonder how long this piece is. Oh, it is pretty long, actually. I didn't think it would be. That's all right. Okay, so I'm going to carry this a little bit up to this top part here, and then start working my way down with it. Okay, so forget to mark that I did that one as well. Yeah, I often say I cannot draw or paint or any of that. So this is my art. I can't freeform embroidery either. Yeah. That's why I like this, because it's on defined squares. Just adding 1 pixel at a time. can usually tell from the feel of the thread when I pull on it and of the sound it makes as it's going through the fabric if there's a knot. Yeah, it usually feels and sounds different. So sometimes I don't catch it, but most of the time I would say like 80% of the time I do. Because yeah, it's easier to fix it if you catch it right away. Once you've sewn through it with other threads, forget it. Leave that threaded for now. Let's see how soon I get back to it. Yeah, so this one here with these kind of blues here is a leaf. And then where the purples are is the petals. These flowers here. So it's pretty detailed, so it does mean color changes a bit more often. So I think I did the math, but of course I forgot to write it down. But I think it was about 176,000 will be how many it takes to finish this pass, something like that. It's either 176 or like 178, but anyway, at any rate, it's under 180. I started at 171, so yeah. That should be possible. I actually managed to do almost 12,000 stitches last month. The month before I did over 9, so yeah. 8,000 should be doable unless some unforeseen stuff crops up. So we will see. Yeah, I was so excited to hit, yeah, I thought I'd unthreaded that. I was so excited to hit the 50% mark. That is always fun. And now we're closing in on 60. So yeah, I hit 50%, I think it was in August, something like that. I'll have to look back, but yeah, it was earlier this year. Which means it was like a year and less than a year and a half to reach the halfway mark. So yeah, we will see. Yeah, it's funny. This is 03, so yeah, I had my whole 01 problem where I used 01, the white tin, instead of 1, the white. And yeah, I bought a whole bunch of that color, and it turns out I didn't need it at all. Yeah, I still have some left. I said, yeah, I was so annoyed because I knew people were making that mistake, and I thought I was being smart enough that I didn't, and then discovered, nope, I was making that mistake too. So yeah, I went through all of my Heaven and Earth designs on Pattern Keeper after that, and I changed anything that said 1 to actually say white, so I will not mess that up again. So yeah, I had to restart this whole piece because I did that. I did the whole upper left-hand corner with the clouds before. realizing it was wrong. It was over 10,000 stitches, so I said, yeah, I am not ripping out that many stitches, so I'm going to use that piece for a smaller project, and I'll just cut off what I messed up. Yes, I was going to unpick it, and somebody just said, "Oh, don't do that. You'll lose your mind." And it's really hard to unpick that many stitches without accidentally putting a hole in in your fabric, which it is possible to fix, but you would rather avoid that happening in the first place. Yeah, people will take sort of threads from the side of the fabric and kind of weave in a new base fabric, or some people, what they do is they take an extra piece of fabric and kind of sew through both layers for a bit. They said that it is hard to notice the extra thickness after the whole thing is completed. But yeah, obviously I'd much rather avoid that. Yeah, Needlebug made a video about how to fix if you accidentally rip a hole in your fabric. Yeah, she announced on her channel that she's having to put her channel on hiatus for a bit, so yeah. So yeah, you could always go over there and send her some love. Yeah, she's the one who got me started on parking. Yeah, I've since started to make my own. She showed it more doing diagonal sort of row by row, color by color. So you would pick sort of whatever the color was used the most in the next 10 stitches, do them first, park, do the next one, then park. So I started it that way, and then slowly over time, yeah, it evolved into what I do now, and who knows, it may evolve again, Sometimes that happens. Okay, actually, I'm going to park that. I'm actually going to do this color here first. Yeah, and then work around it with the other one. Make sure I remember to color it in, or I'll get very mixed up. All right, that's a short one. That's what I thought. Only long enough to do the one stitch here. yeah, I could kind of do these 2-3 stitches here that are kind of floating off by themselves, but I don't like doing that. I don't like closing anything in, so I will actually use up another small thread that way later. You could, of course, choose to just do those. It's totally up to you. Yes, I like to say I like to have any stitches I do be connected on at least one side with stitches I have previously completed. That's just my preference, you know. Definitely not saying it is the only right way. The right way is what works for you. Yeah, people can get very heated about this stuff sometimes. I'm also a knitter and I'm on Ravelry, and you can see people get very passionate about which way is the better way to knit, you know, continental, English, Portuguese, you know, Russian. And it's like, again, the best way is the way that works for you, that you're happy with it. I, of course, knit English style because I learned from my British grandmother. So, yeah, I learned the basics. I taught myself the rest. I found one of those kits they had at Michael's, which included an instruction book and needles and row counters and, yeah, stitch markers and all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, taught you how to do all the decreases and increases and how to read a pattern and, yeah, all that kind of stuff. So, and I learned some on Ravelry too. Yeah, I haven't been on there as much, but well, and it was nice because there were forums you could ask questions. So yeah, you could find knitters or crocheters on there who've been doing it for, 50 or more years. So yeah, they knew all the tricks. Yeah, the one thing I could never master was the long tail cast on, which is what my grandma used. Yeah, and I would just watch her, and yeah, she would cast on stitches just like like that fast. It was just like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah, I said I can cast on stitches fairly quickly, but definitely not that quickly. Yeah. She would knit the Intarsia sweaters with the different color work on them, and she could, if she only worked on that, she could complete one in like a day. Which was, yeah, I said amazing. Yeah, I had a bunch of sweaters that she'd made for me that I kept even though I outgrew them. And unfortunately, my parents stored them in an outbuilding and they got chewed up by rats. So I was heartbroken, yeah. I mean, they didn't fit anymore, but I mean, they were made for me by my grandma, right? You don't want to get rid of those. Yeah. So yeah, I was pretty sad. Yeah, I don't think she really knits much anymore because of arthritis, because she's now in her 90s, but yeah. Yeah, she lives far away, so we don't get to see her very often. Okay, so I'm going to start another thread of this color. And speaking of 90s, I just completed 90 stitches. That's funny. think there was kind of more bigger color blocks in the feathers. The flowers are a bit more detailed. There's a lot of there's smaller flowers and there's a lot of petals in a smaller area, so yeah, that makes it more confetti heavy. But yeah, like I said, I did almost the entirety of the tail feathers in 1 month, which I was not expecting it to go that quickly, so yeah, we will see. So yeah, I think I went down to 320 for this pass. Yeah, so the next pass will go down to 380. Yeah, 60 is just what fits comfortably in my frame. If I was working on a higher count, then I could do more. Yeah, on my 18 count piece, I do, my passes are 90 stitches. Yeah. Or 90 rows, I should say. Yeah, tall. Oh, I guess stitches works too, right? Yeah, so I'll be moving this in the frame one more time, I think. Yeah, I can't sort of stitch across everything that fits in my frame. My left shoulder starts complaining at me if I do that, so. Alright, should be able to get that one stitch there. Okay. So I have a few colors that are less than 100 stitches to go, but yeah, I might hit a 0 in the next pass, possibly, although it won't be until about the last third of it. But yeah, it'll have been a long time coming. Yeah, so Pattern Keeper had an update that made it possible that you can have it so the zeros don't show up in your legend anymore, which is kind of nice then. Yeah, you don't have as many, you can see how many colors you got left. And when I finish a color, I like to take the envelope out of my tub and put it back in my master set. Yeah, so by the end I only have like 5 envelopes to go through, which is really nice. It's very satisfying every time I can go 0 and put that envelope aside. was the leaf, and now this is the flower petal. Here comes the purple. Really short pieces, I like to tack them down with a pin stitch so they don't get pulled out by accident. Yeah, see, this one I'm not going to bother because it's a nice long piece, and I find those tend to stay parked more easily where you want them to. That is the wrong one, yeah. Yes, so I can see sort of the flower petal goes like this. So I'm gonna again follow those colors. So I won't bother doing the ones that are the more lighter pinks that are appearing here. I'm gonna work this flower petal, then I'll fill that in later. That means I don't have to have as many live needles going at once. So there was actually a little bit of purple bleeding into that leaf, because now we're back to the bluish colors again. Interesting. I think some of it is leaf and some of it is like shadow, the underside of the petals, so we'll see. I can never tell what all the details are until I've actually stitched them, and sometimes not even then until I stand back and look at the whole thing. Yeah, actually looking at it now, I might start working out from this bit here and then continue that bit there. That's what I'm thinking I might do. Yeah, I often change my mind as I go. That's what I think I'm going to do, actually. There we go. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of the window there peeking out under this leaf. And then that's it for that window's done. Yeah, so I'm going to cut it off sort of right there and fill this in for now. Actually, I'm going to do a different color first. So yeah, I have about 10 needles live, so generally at this point, don't add any more. I find it starts to tangle on me. It's harder to pull the thread out with the needle still attached, so. I can rethread pretty quickly these days. Found when I was stitching my firefly piece, it's got 150 colors, and it was hard to use multiple needles because there are so many threads. Yeah, and I have sworn never again. Yeah, I like the detail, the shading, but yeah, it's slower going because it's so many colors. And so I said from now on I'm going to stick to the standard about 90 colors. I found that's plenty. Yeah, when I charted it, I had an option to choose fewer colors, but I guess I lost my mind that day because I picked a big one over 500,000 stitches, and then, yeah, 150 colors, because I guess I'm a sucker for punishment. And then again, I'm not going to do this one here because it will not be connected on a side yet. So do it later. I used to sort of do those. I did more of a combination parking in the cross country, but yeah, now that part I became a little more strict because I found if I did floating stitches, then eventually something would be closed in, and it was, yeah, harder to get the needle through. And also, I made counting errors more often, so yeah, it kind of wasn't faster if you have to keep stopping to fix mistakes. So. I'm just going to tie this one off. bunch of colors are ending, so that will thin out how many live needles I have. So sometimes I have to sort of reset, take all of the needles off and start again, but I try to instead just finish off the ones that are live when I can, and then that kind of solves that problem for me. Surprised it didn't have this color out yet. Yeah, I can see it's used a lot in this part of the pattern. Okay. Yeah, there. So now I'm down to like 4 live needles, so that thinned that out nicely. So now I'm down to only 2, or actually 3, because I can't count. Come on. There we go. Second strand there didn't want to go through the eye of the needle. It's not at first, but I got it. This piece is only long enough for these, so. So I did the bottom part of that curved bit. Now I'm going to do the top part and then continue to work my way around it. Oh, I misparked something. Yep. Yep. This one is parked. Or this new thread should be parked. Yep. No problem. That can be fixed. Yeah, like I said, this is why I take the time to grid. When I do make a mistake, those grid lines really help me figure out exactly where I made the mistake and where the thread actually should go. There's another one that goes there, another petal that goes there. I can see them forming. So yeah, I smoothed out one indent and now I'm creating a new one right here. Okay, so I'll do a bunch of this color, and I think that is where I'm going to take a break. Oh, look at that. Sewed it right through my Band-Aid there. Oh dear. Okay, 184, yeah, even though it was quite a few colors, still managed to put up a pretty good number today. So thank you so much for joining me, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.